Imagine a woman in 19th century Paris, her face veiled, her gaze lowered. She is an enigma, whispered about in hushed tones. This was Madame Dimanche, known for a most peculiar affliction, a horn protruding from her forehead. This was no mere figure of speech, but a hardened, spiralling protuberance measuring nearly 9.5 inches. It curved from her forehead, a bizarre appendage that both fascinated and repulsed those who dared to look. Madame Dimanche's condition, while startling, was not entirely unheard of. It bore a name as clinical as it was descriptive: cornucutaneum. This Latin term translates simply to cutaneous horn, a fitting label for a growth arising from the skin. These horns, composed primarily of keratin, the same protein that forms our hair and nails, are essentially tumours. However, they are not cancerous in the traditional sense. They are more accurately categorized as benign tumours, though their appearance can be far from benign. Little is known about Madame Dimanche's life beyond her condition. Her birth date, her family, her occupation, all remain shrouded in mystery. The horn itself dominates her narrative, a testament to the power of the unusual to overshadow the ordinary. Yet in this lack of information we find a poignant reminder. Behind the medical marvel, there was a woman, living and breathing, in a world that struggled to understand her. Her story, however, is not unique. Throughout history, individuals have borne the weight of unusual growths, anomalies that set them apart from the perceived norm. Their experiences offer a glimpse into the human capacity for both wonder and cruelty, for compassion and fear. In the annals of medical curiosities, Madame Dimanche stands as a stark reminder. The human body, for all its elegance, is capable of extraordinary and sometimes unsettling deviations. Cornucutaneum, while rare, is a condition with a long and documented history. It arises from the outermost layer of the skin, the epidermis, and can manifest anywhere on the body. While the exact cause remains unknown, there is often an underlying trigger. These triggers can range from benign cysts and warts to inflammatory skin conditions. In some cases, exposure to radiation or even prolonged sunlight has been implicated. These horns are not merely cosmetic concerns, they represent a disruption in the skin's normal growth cycle. Keratin, the building block of skin, hair and nails, is typically shed gradually. However, in cornucutaneum, keratin production goes into overdrive. Instead of being shed, the keratin accumulates layer upon layer, forming the characteristic horn-like structure. The appearance of these horns can vary dramatically. They can be small and barely noticeable, or they can grow to impressive sizes, as in the case of Madame Dimanche. The texture can range from smooth and waxy to rough and brittle. The colour, too, is variable, often mirroring the individual's skin tone, though darker shades are not uncommon. While the horns themselves are not typically painful, they can become problematic. Their size and location can interfere with everyday activities, making even simple tasks difficult. Additionally, there is a risk of infection, particularly if the horn is accidentally damaged or if attempts are made to remove it without proper medical care. Madame Dimanche's story, though striking, was not without precedent. History, particularly the annals of medicine, is replete with accounts of individuals bearing the mark of the cutaneous horn. These cases, often documented in medical texts and journals, offer a glimpse into the past, highlighting the enduring fascination with human anomalies. One such case involved Margaret Griffith, a 17th century resident of London. Her horn, documented by the renowned surgeon Thomas Bartholin, grew to an astonishing length, exceeding even that of Madame Dimanche's. Griffith's horn, however, differed in one crucial aspect. It was said to have sprouted a second, smaller horn, adding an even more unsettling dimension to her condition. Another notable case involved Mary Davis, an Englishwoman who lived to be 72 years old, her life marked by a 4-inch horn that protruded from her forehead. Davis, unlike many others with her condition, capitalized on her unusual appearance, exhibiting herself for a fee. Her story underscores the complex relationship between society and those deemed different, where curiosity often intertwined with exploitation. These historical accounts, though often lacking in medical detail, provide valuable context for understanding the societal and cultural responses to cornucutaneum. They highlight the enduring fear and fascination surrounding human horns, a fascination that transcended geographical boundaries and temporal constraints. The appearance of a horn, particularly on the human head, has long been met with a mixture of awe and apprehension. In societies steeped in superstition, such growths were often interpreted as signs of divine displeasure or demonic possession. The horn, with its biblical connotations of power and the beastly, became a physical manifestation of inner turmoil or spiritual corruption. For individuals like Madame Dimanche, the social stigma could be as isolating as the physical condition itself. They were often ostracized, labeled as witches, demons, or monsters. Their presence elicited fear and disgust, prompting whispers and sideways glances. The horn became a barrier, separating them from the normalcy of everyday life. Even in the more enlightened circles of 19th century Paris, Madame Dimanche's horn likely elicited a range of reactions. While some may have viewed her with scientific curiosity, others would have seen her as an object of pity or morbid fascination. The medical community, still grappling with the complexities of the human body, likely offered little in the way of effective treatment. The societal response to Madame Dimanche's condition highlights the power of the unfamiliar to evoke fear and prejudice. It underscores the human tendency to seek explanations for the unusual, often resorting to superstition or mythology when faced with the unknown. The image of the horn is deeply ingrained in human mythology and folklore. From the majestic unicorn, a symbol of purity and grace, to the fearsome devil, with his horns representing evil and temptation, the horn has long held a paradoxical place in the human psyche. This duality is reflected in the societal responses to individuals with cornucutaneum. The unicorn, with its single spiraling horn, has captivated imaginations for centuries. It is a creature of myth and legend, said to possess magical powers, including the ability to heal the sick and purify water. The unicorn's horn, often depicted as white or gold, represented all that was good and pure. In stark contrast, the devil, a figure of evil in many religions, is often depicted with horns. These horns, usually black and menacing, represent the devil's power and his ability to tempt humans into sin. The devil's horns are a symbol of fear, a reminder of the consequences of straying from the path of righteousness. The contrasting symbolism of the unicorn and the devil illustrates the complex relationship humans have with horns. They can represent both the divine and the demonic, the pure and the corrupt. This duality is reflected in the societal responses to individuals like Madame Dimanche, who bore the physical manifestation of this potent symbol. The removal of a cutaneous horn, while seemingly straightforward, was a complex and potentially dangerous procedure in the 19th century. Without the benefit of modern surgical techniques and anesthesia, the operation carried significant risks, including infection, blood loss, and even death. The procedure itself involved surgically excising the horn at its base, ensuring that all of the abnormal tissue was removed to prevent regrowth. This often required cutting into healthy tissue, leaving a significant wound that was prone to infection. In an era before antibiotics, even a minor infection could prove fatal. The decision to undergo such a risky procedure was not taken lightly. For individuals like Madame Dimanche, it was a balancing act, weighing the social stigma of their condition against the potential complications of surgery. Some, like Mary Davis, chose to live with their horns, capitalizing on their unusual appearance. Others, seeking a semblance of normalcy, opted for the surgery, despite the risks. The historical accounts of horn removal offer a glimpse into the limitations of 19th century medicine. They highlight the courage of individuals like Madame Dimanche, who faced their conditions with limited options and uncertain outcomes. The details of Madame Dimanche's life and death remain shrouded in mystery. We do not know if she chose to have her horn removed or if she lived with it until her death. The circumstances surrounding her passing, like much of her life, are lost to time. What we do know is that after her death, Madame Dimanche's unusual anatomy became a subject of intense curiosity. Her skull, complete with the base of her impressive horn, found its way into the hands of a Parisian physician. It was a time when the study of anatomy was gaining momentum, and specimens like Madame Dimanche's were highly prized. The physician, recognizing the rarity of such a specimen, had a wax model of her head created. This model, painstakingly crafted to replicate her features, including the formidable horn, was likely used for educational purposes, allowing medical students to study this rare condition. Madame Dimanche's wax likeness, frozen in time, became a silent testament to her extraordinary condition. It served as a visual reminder of the unpredictable nature of the human body and the strange turns it could take. Her story, passed down through medical circles, ensured that even in death she would not be forgotten. Today, Madame Dimanche's wax model resides in the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia, a place where medical oddities are preserved and displayed. Her likeness, alongside other anatomical specimens and medical instruments, serves as a testament to the history of medicine and the human body's remarkable ability to deviate from the norm. The Mutter Museum, with its collection of the unusual and the macabre, may seem like an unlikely place to find humanity. Yet within its walls, amidst the skeletons and preserved organs, there is a strange beauty to be found. It is a beauty that lies in the acceptance of our shared humanity, in all its imperfections and variations. Madame Dimanche's story, though incomplete, reminds us that behind every medical marvel there was once a living, breathing person. It encourages us to look beyond the spectacle of the unusual and to see the individual beneath. Her legacy, preserved in wax and displayed in a museum, serves as a reminder of the importance of empathy and understanding in the face of the unknown.